JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 10th of March 2021. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's afternoon session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff basically. But before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. We do throw out different technical analysis here, different fundamental analysis, and yep, we focus on various things here. So yeah, check us out on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. So now then, jumping into the charts and looking at this beautiful picture here on the German index, the DAX, and you can see that yes, we are popping higher today, and if you remember this morning I talked about this this index, and I said that if you want to go for some higher levels, well, at least wait for a pop above the 14,475 territory. And as you can see, this is exactly the reason why I said that, because this such a move here broke, created a new all-time high, went for, of course, the break first of all went for an confirmed the forthcoming higher high, created a new all-time high, and well, I mean, so far at the moment, at this point in time, the all-time high is around the 14,539 territory. So, or we can round it up towards the 40. So 14,540 territory. That's the current all-time high. Again, don't get me wrong. We might see a further push north. So maybe this is not the end. So that's why I'm just gonna get rid of this line for now. I'm gonna pick up on this tomorrow as well in my morning video. But long story short, the main thing here is the fact that yes, we broke above this 14,475 territory, and yep, we've decided to move further north. So for now, the idea here is basically to continue observing, continue observing the price action, because again, due to the circumstances, I mean, we cannot say where exactly this resistance area will be, so that's why we'll probably wait for this one. And in case, or should I say, in case the index decides to reverse back down and falls today, for example, back below the 14,475 territory, now this is where it could become a little bit more interesting, because then what we would have here would be the picture where we'll have a nice false breakout. We will have the daily candle below this hurdle, below yesterday's high, and which means that this could signal maybe a possible reversal signal, a reversal sign. But again, this is maybe a little bit me getting ahead of myself here. So first, basically, long story short, let's see where this daily candle is going to end today. The S&P 500. So looking at the picture here, we can see that the index managed to push nicely to the upside yesterday. So it, first of all, it moved above this 3,871 territory I spoke about recently this week. What I said that that if we climb back above this area, above the 21-day EMA, but mainly above this 3,871 territory, that's where I could get a little bit more excited with the upside. And if we take a look at the cash index right now, we'll see that the price is trading at around 3,888 zone. So basically, we are trading somewhere around here, not not far from yesterday's highs. And if you want to go for some higher levels, well, you probably could wait for a push above yesterday's high near the 3,904 territory. A nice good pop above it will confirm a forthcoming higher high. But again, guys, be very careful with that idea, because we are still trading below this downside line right here. So that's why I'm saying that probably wait for a push above the 3,904 territory first, because at the same time this downside line will get broken. But if it struggles, if the index struggles to overcome this, then, well, I mean, maybe a bit of a decline here again could be possible. DXY, so dollar index, and again, this is, to be honest, I'm quite happy with this the picture that we're having here, because this morning I talked about this one. This morning we were still hanging in a positive territory, but I said that in a way there is a chance for DXY to drift lower, because it could still end up testing this upside support line drawn from the low the 25th of February. So for now, basically the idea here is that I'm going to continue observing the price action, because in a way we could see that good test of this upside line, and if it continues to provide support, yes, we'll go for a let's say for another up move here, potential up move. But if this upside line gets broken and we see the price falling below the 91.60 territory and staying below this, then yes, I'll go for a bit of a corrective move here to the downside. Now, jumping into silver. With silver, the situation here is that, yes, it managed to climb back above this 25.60 zone. Okay, so that's kind of one good part of it, but to be honest, if you remember yesterday I spoke about silver and talked about silver, and basically I said that in order to get a little bit more excited with the upside, I would prefer to see a push above the 27 territory right here, and then yes, we could go from we could start aiming for some higher levels from here. But at the moment, I will say that this all area here in between these two upside lines is going to be somewhat of a neutral one for me, so I'm just going to continue observing the price action. Jumping into Bitcoin Cash. So I haven't looked at this one for quite a while, but yeah, I mean, so far the idea remains the same. I need that daily candle to remain above the 553 territory. So far, we only got a nice pop above it. But as you can see, the bears kind of kicked in very quickly today, and yep, drove the crypto back down. However, on the positive note, the fact that we are still trading above the 21-day EMA gives a bit of hope here for more buyers, and yep, there could be some hope that the the crypto could push north. But as I said, I need that daily candle to stay above this area, the 553 territory, before, let's say, getting comfortable with higher levels. Okay, so now then, jumping into a few pairs, NZDCHF. So, looking at the picture here. Looking at the picture here, we can see, yes, we're having a nice push higher. It's quite similar to some of the pairs that I looked at this, well, recently actually, some AUD pairs, but that's understandable as the NZD and AUD sometimes, well, moves in a similar fashion here against the other major, their major counterparts. So here, for example, we'll see that we are trading above this short-term upside support line drawn from the low of the 1st of March, yeah, I mean, guys, so for now, I mean, there is still a chance to move higher. Okay, sorry, excuse me, guys, for that. Basically, there is a chance for NZDCHF to make its way north, but as you can see, there are a bunch of obstacles on the way that are kind of let's say, that we are keeping a close eye on. Another thing for you to keep in mind here as well is the potential triangle formation here, or in other words, this could also be looked at as a possible bullish pennant. Now we have the prevailing trend here to the upside. This little formation here, as I said, as a nice triangle, as a nice bullish pennant, could be a bullish pennant. If so, well, I mean, we would need to see a nice good break through the upper side of the pennant first before considering higher levels. But even then, I would say to kind of strengthen the upside scenario, maybe a push above the 0.6728 territory would be needed as well, because that's also the current highest point of March. So if we clear that area, then the next target is the highest point of February, which is around this level right here, the 0.6767. But if that gets cleared, well, I mean, this will confirm a forthcoming higher high, and more buyers could join in, guys. So keep that in mind. For now, probably we'll play a bit of a waiting game here. For the downside, I will say that yes, a break through the lower side of the triangle and a drop below the 0.66 territory could do the trick for more sellers. AUDNZD. So looking at this one so far, everything's working out according to the idea that I've drawn here. The idea was that if we get a push above the 1.0718 territory, my next target is this downside line taken from the high of the 19th of January. Yes, we are seeing a bit of a retracement right now today, but yeah, so far so good. Still, the only thing here what's stopping it from moving further north is this high, the current highest point of March, near the 1.0771. So if you want to be a little bit more comfortable with, let's say, the upside, well, a push above this barrier would be needed. In a way, for now, I mean, although there is still a good chance for this one to move higher even from here, maybe you could keep an eye on this level, the 1.0771, in order to get a little bit more confident with the upside. So a nice good pop above this will confirm a forthcoming higher high, will confirm a new high for March, and yes, we could then target this downside line. Now, a USDCAD. So looking at this picture here, well, I mean, you can see that once again we are having the same problem. Now, I've mentioned this problem in my morning video. Basically, this pair is kind of still liking this downside line drawn from the high of the 19th of March. It keeps on overshooting it all the time, but it never kind of stays above it. So we keep getting these nice false breakouts, but yeah, we're not really getting that daily candle to stay kind of above this downside line. But to be honest, even if it stays above this downside line, yes, maybe we could start looking at some higher levels, but I would prefer to wait for a push above the 1.2738 level before aiming for the upside. With the downside, I mean, I cannot really I cannot really get comfortable with lower levels until I see a drop below the 1.2590 territory right here, which continues to provide decent support. And yeah, I mean, if we do see a drop below this, then this could open the door towards lower areas. USDJPY very quickly. So we did have an attempt to push higher, but as you can see, it didn't really kind of let's say go all the way here towards yesterday's high near the 109.23, and we're still trading above yesterday's low. So we're in this little range here, or I wouldn't say range, but in between these two levels, the low and the high of yesterday. If we get a drop below yesterday's low, which is around the 108.41 territory, this is where it could become very interesting for a few more sellers, because this could lead to a bit of a corrective move lower. But if we continue trading in between these two levels, I'm going to take a bit of a neutral stand, and I'm going to just kind of watch the price action. By the way, we can see that we got the U.S. Inflation figures, which came out. So the core ones disappointed, slightly disappointed, but the headline ones came out in line with the expectations. So yeah, I mean, you can check the numbers on the economic calendars, but I mean, here basically you can see that there's a bit of weakness in the dollar, and yep, it's not liking the those inflation numbers, but nevertheless, it is how it is. For now, here, from jumping, kind of looking at the USDJPY. From the USDJPY perspective, we can see that yes, we are waiting for a clear move through either through the yesterday's high or through yesterday's low here, and then we'll take it from there. GBPUSD very quickly. Weaker dollar is helping this pair to move a little bit to the upside. However, the pair continues to trade around its 21-day EMA, shown here as the yellow line, so it's kind of oscillating around it. And on the positive side is the fact that we are trading now slightly above this downside line taken from the high of the 24th of February. But the only thing is, I would say that don't focus on it too much, because still the more comfortable level after a break of which you could go for the upside would be near the psychological 1.40 territory. So all this area here up until that level will be still somewhat of a neutral one for me, because it could travel a little bit higher, test the 1.40, and then reverse back down. So I've seen this happening several times, so that's why don't rush into anything yet. I'll get rid of this downside line, no longer needed, and for the downside, probably keep your eyes on the 1.3780 territory, approximately around here, and a nice good drop below it could open the door towards a possible test of this upside line here, which is drawn from the low of the 23rd of September. And finally, EURUSD. So not much has changed since morning. I mean, the same analysis remains, to be honest. We're still trading below that short-term tentative downside resistance line taken from the high of the 25th of February. And in a way, as long as it remains below it, then kind of, yes, I mean, there is still a chance to see maybe a test of the 200-day EMA or even this 1.18 level. If this downside line gets broken and we see the rate traveling above the 1.1952 territory here, at least above that, we'll get a little bit, or should I say somewhat positive, but there is an obstacle here, this 1.2023. But if that gets broken, then this could lead to a larger correction to the upside, because don't forget that we're still trading below this downside line taken from the high of the 6th of January, and yeah, then we'll take it from there, guys. So that's it for this session. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for joining in and watching this one till the end. Please join me tomorrow morning, as always, my Traders Espresso at my Traders Espresso, 7 o'clock GMT time. For now, guys, have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.